To survive in woke culture, you have to become a liar. You have to pretend that you think fat is beautiful. You have to pretend to be race obsessed.
You may think you've got me worried about what you're going to do. Dude, you're about to find out what I'm going to do. And that's going to worry you a lot more.
Kurt Russell versus woke Hollywood. Sounds like a movie title, right? Well, it's real life, and the drama's intense. Russell's calling out the industry for its woke obsession. But here's the plot twist. What if Russell's the one who's out of touch? We're digging into both sides of this Hollywood showdown. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Remember when movies were just movies? No hidden messages, no political statements, just pure entertainment. That's what we're talking about when we say the golden age of Hollywood. Picture it, glittering premieres, larger-than-life stars, and stories that kept you glued to your seat. Take Gone with the Wind from 1939. It wasn't just a movie, it was an event. People lined up around the block to see it, and Star Wars in '77, it didn't just break box office records, it created a whole new universe for fans to obsess over. These weren't just films, they were cultural landmarks. But hold on a second, was it really all perfect back then? Not exactly. Those classic movies we love, some of them have pretty big problems when you look closer.
You know, my personal feeling is that there's a big difference between Fantasyland and reality. Fantasyland is what we do. You're either writing something, writing a song.
Breakfast at Tiffany's is a great example. It's a beloved film, but that Asian character, yikes! It's the kind of thing that wouldn't fly today. And that's where things get tricky. Are we losing something by being more aware? Robert Duvall thinks so. He said, the industry has changed so much. It's not about the story anymore. It's about the agenda. He's got a point, right? But then again, maybe it's not such a bad thing to think about the messages we're putting out there. Here's something interesting. Younger viewers today actually prefer movies that tackle social issues. But older audiences, they're more into traditional storytelling without all the political stuff. So who's right? The truth is, Hollywood's changing. Whether that's good or bad depends on who you ask. Are we losing the magic that made those classic films so special? Or are we finally addressing issues that have been ignored for too long?
Sure, you get sometimes you get what you feel is slightly ambushed by somebody who's really got an agenda, and that's sort of, I think, that's my opinion of what happened to me the other day.
But wait a second, we keep talking about woke Hollywood. What does that even mean? And why are some people so worked up about it? That's what we need to figure out next. Alright, so what's the deal with woke? It's not just about staying awake during boring movies. Nah, it's way more complicated than that. Woke culture is all about being aware of social issues, especially when it comes to race, gender, and who you're into. It's like suddenly everyone in Hollywood got a conscience, or at least they're pretending to.
Do you really believe they're not going to? Are you serious about that? Are you seriously? What good will that? Oh my God, you and I just disagree.
But here's the thing, this woke stuff didn't just appear out of nowhere in Tinseltown. It's been brewing for years and now it's everywhere. You can't watch a movie without someone talking about representation or inclusivity. Some people are all for it, saying it's about time Hollywood got with the program. Others, they think it's just pandering to make a quick buck.
Insane. The problem we're having right now is that we don't have the concepts of how to turn it around and say,
let's look at some examples, shall we? Disney's been going wild with their live-action remakes. They're taking classic stories and giving them a woke makeover. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's a mess. Remember the fuss over the new Little Mermaid? People lost their minds over Ariel's skin color. Like, seriously? It's a fish person. Get over it. But here's where it gets interesting. Not everyone's buying what woke Hollywood's selling. Some movies that go all in on the woke stuff are bombing at the box office. Others are doing great. It's like the audience can't make up its mind. Do we want progress or do we just want to be entertained? Old school actors like Kurt Russell are not having it. They're looking at all this change and thinking, what the hell happened to just telling a good story?
You may think you've got me worried about what you're going to do. Dude, you're about to find out what I'm going to do. And that's going to worry you a lot more.
Russell's not alone. There's a whole bunch of Hollywood veterans who think this woke trend is messing with the magic of movie making. Here's what Russell thinks, and hold on to your hats for this one. He says you have to lie to survive in Hollywood now.
To survive in woke culture, you have to become a liar. You have to pretend that you think fat is beautiful. You have to pretend to be race obsessed.
Can you believe that? He's basically saying if you don't toe the woke line, you're out. But is he right? Or is he just another grumpy old actor who can't keep up with the times? Look, Hollywood's changing. That's a fact. But is it for better or worse? That's the million-dollar question. And who better to ask than the man himself? Let's hear what Kurt Russell's got to say about all this woke madness. Hollywood's woke agenda. Kurt Russell's not having it. This guy's been in the business since he was a kid, starring in everything from Escape from New York to The Thing. He's seen Hollywood change, and he's not afraid to tell it like it is.
Well, I think there's an issue that people aren't talking about with gay marriage. There's a lot of things that they beat around the bush with. My beef, I'm a libertarian, so my beef with...
So what's Russell's beef with woke culture? He thinks Hollywood's in big trouble if it doesn't get its act together. He's saying the industry's losing its way, getting too caught up in political correctness instead of just telling good stories.
And should be included in female spaces. We're being told that you have to lie repeatedly in order to survive in corporate culture.
And you know what? He might have a point. But here's where it gets messy. Russell's not just talking about movies. He's taking on bigger issues. And some people aren't happy about it. Mark Ruffalo, you know, the Hulk guy, he's calling Russell out for his views on marriage equality. Seems like not everyone in Tinseltown is on board with Kurt's old school thinking.
Would not have had the opportunity to do what they considered was defending their life, their way, their style of living.
So is Russell just a grumpy old actor who can't keep up? Or is he onto something? Look, the guy's been in some of the biggest movies ever. He knows his stuff, but Hollywood's changing, and maybe Russell's having a hard time with that. Here's the kicker. Russell says you have to lie to survive in Hollywood now. That's a pretty heavy accusation. Is the industry really that toxic? Are actors and directors having to pretend to be woke just to keep their jobs?
The people who want to defend themselves can't? No, not so you can't, just so the idiots can't get a hold of it.
Do you really believe they're not going to? Are you serious about that?
That's some scary stuff if it's true, but hold on a second. There's a rumor going around that Russell cut ties with Disney over their woke agenda. Apparently he said he was sick and tired of it all. But here's the thing, we don't know if that's actually true. It's just gossip at this point. So where does this leave us? Is Kurt Russell a lone wolf howling at the moon, or is he the voice of reason in a world gone mad? Are other celebs going to start speaking up, or is everyone too scared of getting canceled? Here's the real question. Is this just about movies anymore? Or is there something bigger going on here? Because it's starting to feel like Hollywood's not just making entertainment, it's making statements, and not everyone's happy about it. Remember when movies were just movies? Yeah, those days are long gone. Now every film's got an agenda, every actor's got a cause. But here's the million-dollar question. Is all this wokeness actually changing minds, or is it just pissing people off? This isn't just about Hollywood anymore. It's a full-on culture war, and Tinseltown's right in the middle of it. You've got the woke crowd pushing for more diversity and representation, and then you've got the old guard saying it's all gone too far. It's like watching a real-life drama unfold, and we're all part of the audience. So what happens to celebs who speak out against the woke agenda? Are they getting canceled? Well, it's not that simple. Some of them are still working, still making movies, but you can bet they're feeling the heat. And let's be real, some of them are dishing it out just as much as they're taking it.
Gender identity is so fluid that you can change it every hour if you want, and it's not fixed at all. And it's infinitely variable at...
But here's the thing, all this Hollywood drama isn't just staying on the silver screen, it's spilling out into the real world. The American Psychological Association says that what we see in movies and TV can actually change how we think about stuff. So when Hollywood starts pushing a message, it's not just entertainment anymore. It's kind of like propaganda, you know? And what about the movies themselves? Are we losing good stories because everyone's too worried about offending someone? Some filmmakers are saying they feel like they're walking on eggshells, afraid to tell the stories they really want to tell. Is that what we want? Movies that are so sanitized they don't say anything at all. Where does that leave us, the average moviegoers? Are we the real losers in all this? We're the ones paying to see these flicks after all, and it seems like more and more of us are getting fed up.
The behavior of people that are dead set on taking your way of life away from you.
We just want to be entertained, not lectured to. But maybe there's something bigger brewing here. Kurt Russell isn't the only one speaking out. You've got other celebs joining the anti-woke crowd. Is this the start of some kind of movement? Are we gonna see a pushback against all this political correctness in Hollywood? So what's the verdict? Is Hollywood doomed to keep churning out preachy, politically correct snooze fests? Or is this just growing pains?
You think you can control that? No. And there's only one thing you can do with that, and say, no, dude, that's not going to happen.
Maybe the industry's finally waking up to some real issues, and it's just gonna take some time to figure out how to do it right. So here's the deal with Hollywood. It's changing, and Kurt Russell's not the only one who's noticed. But maybe this whole woke versus old school thing isn't as black and white as people think. You know what I mean? Look, Hollywood's always been about making money. If woke movies are bringing in the cash, they're gonna keep making them. But that doesn't mean the old school stuff is dead. There's room for both, right? Think about it. You've got your big blockbusters with all the diversity and social messaging, but you've also got indie films that are just telling good stories without all the politics. It's like Hollywood's having an identity crisis, but maybe that's not such a bad thing. So what do you want to see at the movies? Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. You're the one buying the tickets. You're the one Hollywood's trying to please. So speak up. Let them know what you want. Maybe we can have our cake and eat it too. Who knows?